Hey guys, I don't usually do this, but I felt the need to go back and just kind of add in something in the beginning of the video so I don't mislead you guys. So apparently in Japan, Randy was pretty trash. He only had typical 50% killer abilities and things like that, but it looks like they're buffing him up for global. So a lot of what I say in this video might not become entirely accurate, so take it with a grain of salt. Like, even if you look right here, it says that he can deal a total of 125% more damage to beasts, spirits, reapers, and dragons. So it looks like they're adding kind of like a Cloud of Darkness Killer Plus type of passives to his kit. Let me just show you real quick. So in Japan, this is what it looked like. He had these 50% passives here. But it looks like, you know, they kind of recognize that he wasn't strong enough for a base 5-star, so they're adding, looks like 75% to a lot of these passives. So with 125% increased damage to these types of monsters or enemies, he definitely does get a lot better. I don't know if he's still going to be like an amazing character, but he's going to be viable at least, kind of like in a Furion type of way. So keep that in mind as I go through the review. Hey guys, MoJK here. So in another curveball that Gumi has thrown us, they are giving us the Secret of Mana collab event. Everybody kind of thought this wasn't going to happen in Global, but they like to surprise us apparently. So no Orlandeau for another week, and I'm going to be honest, there's not really a whole lot to look forward to with this event, other than the fact that I really liked Secret of Mana growing up. But yeah, let's get right into it. So the event's going to be another Farming King Mog event, so you guys are probably familiar with that by now. The first completion rewards, pretty standard stuff, summon ticket, and then some of the candy currency, and 500 lapis. This is almost exactly like one of the recent King Mog events that we've had. I think either the Type 0 or the FF13, I don't quite remember. And obviously, you take this candy, you exchange it for different items at the King Mog shop. Full Moon Slash is the global exclusive ability for Randy. Mana appears to be a global exclusive ability for Prim and or Popoi, but I'm not sure exactly. We'll get into that, but I'm not sure if exactly that's accurate. In Mana's Protection, I don't know what this is. They do have some cool items here. The Gigas Axe is definitely going to be the best non-TM axe that we have in Global, and the next best thing is not even close. It's probably like Golden Axe or something like in the 50s. So an 85 attack axe is really good. If you're using Mercedes or something like that, then you're going to definitely be happy about that. Obviously, Mercedes has her own TM, which is way better, but you know, if you can only farm up one of those or you want to dual wield her, this is a great option. Aura Glove is kind of weak, but kind of makes sense also with the hybrid damage that Prim does. Attack 45, Magic 32, not the greatest, but the Spirit is really high, so that could be useful, especially defensively. Ninja's Trump is only for Popoi, and it's actually really high magic for a thrown weapon. That's really nice to have as well. And Polon Bow appears to be just a generic or regular bow that everybody can use. It's only attack 30 though, so nothing special. And I believe that bows have innate bird killer anyway, so this bow is really weak. Hayate Whip, 45 attack, nothing again to really get excited about. I don't think anybody's really going to be using that. Soul Crown, defense 20, spirit plus 20. Again, not the greatest thing. You're probably, you know, better off using muscle belts and things like that for your healers, but it's not too bad, I guess. There might be other effects that aren't listed here. And as with every one of these farming events, the special, kind of like the high drop enemies are going to be called Rabbites. These are from the game of course, and you can encounter up to 6 at once, which would give you a total of 1,200 candy. So look out for these. I don't know how hard it will be, but and you can only encounter in advanced and up. So there's not really a whole lot new. You will get character bonuses on this event, which is kind of unfortunate because it's going to force us to pull on the banner a little bit, which is standard, but you'll see in a little bit these characters are not really worth pulling for otherwise. And yeah, there's really not a whole lot else to say. It's your typical King Mog event. So the banner is going to be the 3 characters from Secret of Mana. Now, again, I love this game, but this banner is actually going to be very disappointing for anybody who's a fan. And I didn't even know that they had these names, to be honest. So the quote-unquote grand prize, the base 5-star, is Randi, and a decent attack stats and HP and all that, but nothing that really stands out. His Trustmaster reward is going to be a pretty powerful regular sword. We don't have a whole lot of these, except for Delita's Moonblade, I believe, which is better than this, but it's not too bad, 101, and then some extra stats along with that. So pretty nice sword to have. If I got him, that would be the only reason really that I'd be excited. A base 4-star that goes to 6-star is Prim, and her Trustmaster reward is actually not that great. Magic and Spirit's only 10%, and MP is 30%, but I don't know, I'd rather have that be the other way around. I'd rather have it be Magic 30%, MP 10%. So it is what it is. And then you have Popoi, who's a base 3-star, only goes to 5-star. He's a mage. Oh, I should mention that he's a fighter, obviously. And then she's a hybrid damage a character. And then this one's a mage. And his Trustmaster reward is basically, I would say, a slightly worse version of Shantoto. It's mag plus 25% instead of 30, although it does give you 5% MP. And I guess the reason that this is good to have is because Shantoto's actually getting a little bit more rare and harder to pull. I mean, she used to drop left and right whenever you would summon, but now the way that it works with all the base 3-stars and everything kind of all becoming equal in a way, definitely Shantoto's harder to pull now, so you can't just stock up on tons of mag 30s. So if you want a couple of extra mag boosting materia for your mages, this is a good one to have. But other than that, not a whole lot to look forward to, and let's get into the details. All right, so I know a lot of you guys who have mages have always been wishing that, you know, I wish these spells weren't AoE. I wish they were just all single target instead. And that's a complete lie because we all like AoE. But this mage, for some reason, happens to use a lot of single target abilities. So first off, the stats, pretty standard stuff. 108 magic is not that great. The HP is about what you would expect, pretty squishy. The equipment selection is actually really good, so there's a lot of options here, but the best equipment for Popoi is probably going to be you know, Enhancer or another regular sword, and then Letters and Arms. Possibly if you have Omni Rod or something like that, you could, I don't know why you would put Dark Venus materia on him, but if you really wanted to build up a kind of like a troll character who has high mag, that's how you would do it. So the abilities these are special, so you can't even dual cast these. So a lot of this stuff is really low multiplier stuff, single target, typical passives here. Here's a decent AoE, 1.4 and decreased defense. But I mean, we have a lot of debuffs coming into our global game right now, and 20% is really low, I would say, but better than nothing. This is one of his better spells. Then we go up to 1.4, but this is still not Aga level, guys. This is Aura level. This one does have a stop effect, which is pretty low, 15%, but kind of like a poor man's Noctis, I guess, here. Here we have a legitimate Aga level spell, Stonga spell, called Earthquake. But again, you can't dual cast this. Evil Gate, this is kind of like your Graviga kind of stuff. Regular Drain, they all have different names, but it's pretty much the same stuff that we've had before. Dark Magic 1.9, not a bad multiplier, I guess. And then this would be kind of like his ultimate spell or whatever, Burst, and it's just 2.4 with Ignore Spirit 25%. So this is your single target version of Meteor. So again, there's not a whole lot of AoE. I don't know why you would want a mage that has a whole lot of single targets. So as you can see, not a lot of enticing options here. Now, if this is correct, if his exclusive materia is mana and it increases attack 55%, that makes absolutely no sense. He doesn't really have any physical stuff except for syringe. There's no reason to buff up his attack. So if this is indeed correct, you would not want to get this for him. His limit burst is actually physical damage. Okay, please don't tell me this is the reason why. But the limit burst is physical damage, AoE, and decreases mag. So this would be decent as an ability, not so great as a limit burst. So that's pretty much it for Popoi. Prim is a magic damage, hybrid damage character. She also has a wide equipment selection, but first off, her stats are decent, not great. For a hybrid character, you would want higher attack here. The mag is kind of low as well, so you're not looking at great stats here. Equipment selection, again, is great because in the game you can pretty much put anything on these characters, so they're trying to stay true to that. I'll tell you what is so strange about this character is that I read through all the abilities, and it took me a couple different readings before I could even remember what the heck she does, because none of this stuff really is memorable or stands out. Here she has like a weaker version of Curaja, slightly stronger than Cura, AoE heal, so that's kind of nice, I guess. A lot of hybrid damage, single target, elemental damage here. This is decent, I guess. But again, 20%, I mean, all these percentages for the debuffs are really low for this point of the game. The meta is like way beyond this, I would say. So, and another thing about the hybrid damage is that 1.55 is really low for hybrid damage, especially considering her stats. As a point of comparison, Noctis's flasks are 4.0 hybrid damage. Bart's, his single target hybrid wind damage is 5.4. So even if you were to dual wield and try to buff up this character, I mean, this is really low multiplier. It really doesn't make sense. Even with the weaknesses targeted on enemies, you're still not going to get much out of it. Just a trash character in my opinion. Here you have increased attack mag 40%, kind of like Ignite for Demon Rain, and works well with Luca, because Luca has the other half of this, I guess. But I mean, I don't know why you would want a character just for that. Here you have another debuff, AoE debuff. These are just all pathetic versions of Noctis' flasks and just really low multipliers for this point of the game. Okay, you have a revive here, but it's not full life or anything like that. Pretty decent passive, but not really enough. So in total, she has 35% mag passive and then a 35% attack passive, which is not enough to make up for her low stats. And then she has light hybrid damage to one enemy, again low multiplier for a hybrid ability. And then she has one decent ability here, light magic damage 3x to all enemies. That's actually pretty decent. It's not as good as X-Depth's light ability, but it's better than nothing. And this kind of indicates to me that you just want to build her as a pure magic character. You don't want to deal with all the physical and all that stuff. Now, Randy's TM would work well on her as well as Enhancer, and then you could also do Letters and Arms, so that's one build that I would recommend, but she's just really never going to get that strong in my opinion. Here you would have increased attack 55% for 2 turns, but I mean, it's not very turn efficient. It's only 2 turns, and you're getting almost as good with something like Embolden, which is 45%, so this is just a waste of a turn in my opinion. Her limit burst is a physical damage, reduced spirit to one enemy. So that's not bad, but again, as a limit burst, it's not really that special. In my opinion, this is just kind of like an irredeemable character, as well as Popoi. They're just trash at this point. So what about Randy, who is, I guess you would say, the main character and the base 5-star? He's got to be pretty decent, right? Well, unfortunately, not really. His HP is good, his attack is decent, although not the greatest. Again, great equipment selection. But as you go through this, you'll notice, like, there's really nothing that stands out. Like, what is your go-to? There's really nothing here. The good thing about him is that he has a whole lot of passives, so in a way he's a little bit like Furion, Spirit Slayer, Beast Killer, Undead Killer, Dragon Killer. So, you know, you do have a lot of these killer abilities, but you don't really have abilities that can really take advantage of that. He can get his limit burst gauge filling really quickly. You can manually charge it up here for 5 turns, and then he passively increases it. And then he has a kind of standard limit burst here, 2.9 to 1 enemy. So they kind of dropped the ball here. If they had all this limit burst gauge filling stuff, they could have given him a really good go-to limit burst, but instead it's like the most vanilla thing ever. So they dropped the ball there. This is a decent ability, I guess. 2.15, pretty low at this point, but a decent debuff. So this is kind of like one of his better abilities, I would say. He's resistant to status ailments, that's pretty nice. And then he has a 15% chance to dodge physical attacks instead of like 20% or 25% on other characters, or 40% on Ling. He doesn't have any attack passives really, except for this 10%. So, okay, so he does have this one here, 35% and defense when equipped with a sword. So you're pretty much stuck putting on a sword for him. You'd want to get his own TM or a Moonblade if you have it, but I mean, really, he doesn't have any good abilities. This is like his best attack ability. 2.15, that's really crap. So, unfortunately, his Full Moon Slash is not really that redeeming either. It's supposed to be kind of like a full break, but instead of 30%, it's only 25%, and the ignore defense is really low. 15% is really pathetic. Now, if this was ignore defense 50%, it'd be redeemable. It'd be a really nice skill, but it's not. So 1.4 divided by 0.85. So this is only a 1.65 multiplier ability, and it's not even as good as full break. It's pretty much on par with full break. It's a little bit stronger physically, but then worse debuff wise. So I mean, I don't know what they were thinking with this character. He's a base 5-star, but he looks like a base 3-star character, honestly. You could put barrage TMs on him and, you know, some nice swords and things like that, but all in all, you're not going to really make him a powerhouse, and he doesn't have any good abilities to really stand out. So unless you're really desperate for a full breaker, you know, somebody who, let's say you have all your buffs covered and you don't need somebody like Rain in your party, this would be a slightly better option because he has better stats and he has almost a full break, but really he's not anything special. Even with the killer abilities, he just doesn't have a whole lot to take advantage of it. So yeah, I mean, I can't believe this is the grand prize of the banner. If I were to get him, yeah, I would probably get his Trustmaster reward because I don't have Delita, but all in all, this is a really skippable banner, and it's unfortunate because I love the game, but it's just another way to be like, okay, where the heck is Orlandeau? So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the review and the overview, and I'll see you guys next time.